or make you laugh, make you cry like Ain't Life Funny. Ugh. What up to everybody on episode 20 real quick, you know what I'm saying?
Episode 20, dude, that's fucking crazy.
I know,
Episode
man.
20, y'all.
I mean, it's been you putting in the hard work, getting everything together for the podcast,
uh,
you know. I just come on here and talk shit, so, you know, I can't really speak to the accomplishments, but I'm very proud of you, you know what I'm saying, of your hard work and efforts, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I was actually saying about the working out, though, is it's kind of funny what's going on with like all these athletes right now really trying to make this stand on the Black Lives Matter and all that because of what happened in, you know, Minnesota.
Wisconsin.
I always get Milwaukee and Wisconsin mixed up, but yeah, Wisconsin. It's kind of crazy because people always want to say like to athletes like that shut up and dribble thing, but what you don't realize is when you work out, you're smarter anyways. Because like that's been scientifically proven. People that work out, bro, like because you physically have your body active, your brain is more active, so you can like absorb more information and like retain it better and shit. And like you have to think to yourself, these guys are at the top peak of athletics. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not like their brains don't work. People just want to say like an athlete is stupid, but they're actually the perfect people to be asking about this shit. And the fact that it's black dudes and like, you know, you always have the people that say like I don't see color. I feel like they say that because you don't see Eddie Murphy as a black man. You see Eddie Murphy. You don't see LeBron James as a black man. You see LeBron James. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like I don't think of like who's a guy like fucking who's a white guy, man? I can't even think of no famous white people right now. Clive Owen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just trying to think of somebody like Clive Owen though. Like, I don't see Clive Owen as a white dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just a white guy. But not like seriously, like Clive Owen to me isn't like a white guy. You know what I'm saying? Like if I saw him, I'd be like, damn, that's Clive Owen. You know what I'm saying? Like or Daryl from Walking Dead or whatever. Like I'd be like, damn, that's old boy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was when I seen him. I was like, damn, you Daryl. Like I didn't even see him as himself. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like that's why people say that though. But like now that the black athlete is really making a stand and be like, nah, I am a black man. Like you do see this color on me. Like I think that if they really can, I don't know what the NBA's gonna do because I know they're still kind of deliberating. But if they really put a stand down and say, yo, we just gonna stop playing basketball, I think it might be the best thing to happen to this country, man. Like people I know people want to see it, but
it's cool to see them use their platform. I mean, that's definitely a way to. That's, I mean, really the only way that they're going to be able to protest. You know,
right.
They're not going to go out on the streets and shit. I mean, obviously they're in the bubble, but
right.
That's pretty powerful. I mean, if all black athletes were to do that in all sports, think of what I mean. Here's the thing. It sucks that, and this is why I sort of like bristle whenever like all this shit like people start trying to be social justice warriors. It's like I don't really want to put my emotions into the opinions of an athlete just because to me they're an athlete. I'm not saying that their opinion isn't valid, but they're not like an expert that I would go to for expert opinions in a lot of shit. But like you said, they have a platform and I mean it's super fucking powerful what they're doing right now. But it's just shitty that the athletes are the ones that have to do this to get any sort of like this is what we said before with the George Floyd shit. It's like something of atrocity happens, people get up in arms, then the news cycle happens, and all like the anger state and is still active from that now.
Yes.
But it quieted down, right? They haven't been talking about it as much. They've been talking about the election and all that bullshit.
Right.
But it quieted down. Wasn't on everybody's mind. Well, now here we are again. And the same shit happened. And what's even crazier is not only did the cops shoot a guy, so like maybe we should go back a little bit.
Yeah, we can delve into
things that happened into the Wisconsin thing. There was cops who shot a black dude who I guess had a knife, but now my wife said no. I don't know. He didn't have shit.
Apparently, it was a domestic dispute at his house, right?
Okay.
And the cops got called. So domestic dispute, you already know anything could be going on. And from what I understand, I think it was something involving his kids. And you know how it is, man. You got crazy baby moms or whatever, or their grandmama or whatever, and it's like, you don't be taking them kids. You supposed to get them yesterday. And it's like, fuck, you can't take them now. It's like, bitch, I'm coming to get the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they just out there causing a scene, and then the cops get involved in it. And like, to me, like, I don't even want to delve into like the actions of the man being right or wrong, or even the cops being right or wrong, because I feel like at this point, all that shit is irrelevant, man. Because like we've seen people do all the right things and the cops still shoot and kill their ass. And we see people do all the wrong things and the cops not shoot their ass. We've seen the people do all the right things and the cops do all the wrong things. Like I just saw a video today where it was a guy standing on the corner waiting on his Western Union. He says a cop's coming up to him asking for his ID. The other cops heard, hey, I got a guy up here with a warrant. And he sees him talking to the cop. So he just walks up to the other guy. The other cop hasn't said a word to this dude. He just walks up, bear hugs him, and then slams him to the ground and starts like handcuffing him. And the guy's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. Why are you doing this? And then the other cop is literally just standing there that was talking to him the first time, not saying a word. And they finally cuffed the guy after they just slammed him on the ground and jacked him up and shit. And it's like, and the guy's like, I think y'all broke my ribs. And the cop is like, the other cop that did that to him is like, so this not the guy? And the cop's like, nah, this not him. I was trying to tell y'all, like, it was this guy over there. But he never stopped those dudes from trying to jack that guy up. He just sat there and watched them handcuff him. And then he was like, oh, yeah, it wasn't this dude. I was just trying to get his ID and stuff, but I ain't ran it yet and all this. And it's just like, so with no information, you just came over, saw a black guy talking to a white cop and decided he was going to body him. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I mean, like that guy was literally, he was animated, but you would be mad if you about to get arrested for literally nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's anybody. And it's just like, that's at every situation. So like, to me, trying to say what's right and wrong, like, to me, I don't think you're a threat walking away from the police until he got to his door, but they had every opportunity to try to apprehend that.
Here's my thing. And Kendra's dad, who used to be a cop, he's 80 years old. He's a black dude. So he used to be a cop back in the day.
Right.
And a black cop in a time that, you know, shit wasn't probably as great for him back then either. But Kendra told him about this. And he was like, how many cops were there? You know, I think there was like 5 or there was a few cops.
Like
7, more than,
there
was a bunch of cops.
It was more than 2.
And he's like, more than 2. How many guys were there? It's one dude. Even if he had a weapon, a knife at all, whatever, there's 7 cops. He ain't the Hulk. He ain't going to body 7 cops physically. So if he was doing something wrong, there's no reason to pull your guns out. Get the fucking guy. Use your fucking training and do something that's not going to kill this guy. I mean, bottom line, the option shouldn't be either I arrest you or I kill you. That shouldn't even be killing a guy. Unless the guy has a gun and he's about to kill you, don't even get the gun out. You know, whatever your logic is, whatever you panic, I get it. But if there's that many cops, they should have fucking done their job and physically, I mean, that's what your job is. You got to put yourself in harm's way if something's going on. So if you thought something was going on, you had to use your body, get this guy down. But to shoot the fucking guy in the back, however many fucking times you did, I mean, is he alive? He's still alive, right? He's
paralyzed, they say. Yeah, he's stable.
He's definitely paralyzed. But, I mean, it's... The fact that it's still happening, how are you doing it? Like, is everyone just not remembering 3 weeks ago?
Well, this is my thing, man.
Stupid?
I think that across all police forces, there is not a standard of operational procedures. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I seen somebody on Facebook saying that they were in the army, and they were like, yo, in the army, if you had did that to one of the like people in like a village or something in the Middle East, you would have had to talk to all the village elders. They would have been dropping money down there, giving the people like pay for the funeral, like all of that shit, and you would have went to jail as a soldier.
Yeah,
because they have like a battle like a list of like ways that they can interact with the public. You know what I'm saying? So like it's consequence. You don't just go to war and just kill anybody. You know what I'm saying? But like the cops, they don't have that same leeway. To me, it seems like their wars against anybody they decide is a threat at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you even look procedurally between the George Floyd killing and that one, they actually did more things right with George Floyd than they did with that guy. Because at least with George Floyd, they cuffed him. They tried to, you know what I'm saying? Even though I feel like a lot of that was some bullshit because they put him in the car and then they took him out of the car, which I didn't really understand that. Maybe he was kicking the glass out or something. I don't know. But like, if you already got the guy in the car, they're locked up at that point. To me, it's like take him to jail. You know what I mean? But they took George Floyd out.
If he's kicking the glass out,
I don't know.
That ain't your car, motherfucker. Let them pay for it. Let the government pay for
it. They can restrain your feet though too. You know what I'm saying? But they never even tried to do any of that shit with George Floyd. That's what I'm saying. Like they obviously made procedural errors. But then this guy, they didn't even like. I know the video was really quick, so I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe they were talking to him longer. But when the guy decided to break off and walk away from the police, and he's saying he's not talking to y'all anymore, that's when you as a cop say, "Sir, you need to stop. Don't move. Grab him or something." You know what I'm saying? But even still, like I said, it doesn't matter, bro. I've literally seen a video. This was back in the day. I think me and you watched this. It was like, remember back when they used to have like videos you could get that would come to like your house, like you could like order them, but it would be like bum fights and shit like that, like fucked up shit on TV. It was like that wouldn't be like before the internet was big, you know what I'm saying? So like it was like one of them old tapes, and I think we got it. And in it, there's a Mexican guy. He gets in a high-speed chase, and then he gets out of his car, and the cops are trying to arrest him. And he's standing there with his hands on the back of his head, and the cops all got the lights on him and the guns pointed at him. And they're like, "Stop. Don't do it." And he starts moving his hand down. They're like, "Stop." And he goes and grabs for his gun off his belt, and then they shoot his ass, right? And they show that. But to me, it's like, if a guy has his hands on the back of his head and he's not looking at you, what's to stop you as a cop while he's slowly reaching to run up and tackle him? Or it looks to me like they wanted to kill that guy. Because, yeah, he might not have been surrendering, but if he has his hands up and he's walking back to you, or if he's not looking at you, at any point you can approach him and he can't see you. He doesn't know where you are. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just feel like every police force handles every situation different. And I understand they're in a volatile situation, but to me, like, I don't think it matters what he did, what a cop did, none of that shit. Like you said, at the end of the day, it needs to be, you are not the executioner. You are not the judge. You don't decide guilt or innocence. You don't decide sentencing or pleas or anything. And on top of everything else, like I said with George Floyd, it's bad for business. If you don't arrest someone and take them to jail, they don't make any money. Matter of fact, police department probably want. But yeah, I was saying like if you are a company, like let's say you're McDonald's, right? And like every time somebody comes through McDonald's drive-thru, y'all got a procedural thing where you steal $1 from them. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know that you steal $1. And but if you look at your receipt, you smart and you can see that they stole $1. They tell you, but they just don't say it, right? So like as McDonald's, that's a bad practice. Eventually, enough people gonna come up and be like, "Damn, y'all stealing money from us." You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with the police. If you out here killing every other black person, the jail system should come to you and say, "Yo, this is bad business for us, dude, because we need customers to fill our jails." You see what I'm saying? Like, your job is to bring us people to put in here, not to kill them before they get here. We make more money with them sitting behind bars. And I know that's fucked up too. And we can delve into all that shit in the prison pipeline system and all that. But if that shit exists, which we all know it does, as a cop, your job is to not kill people and take them out of that. You see what I'm saying? It's to put them in it. So already, it's just a whole bunch of levels to this shit. Like I said, to me, all the shit is fucked from rip. I'm kind of just tired of it. Even like I didn't even watch them actually shoot the dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw it at the door and I turned it off because I already knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't really witness a murders anymore, bro. Like already in my life, I've probably seen more actual murders than someone in the fucking war, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, dog. And it's
I
just
remember when you were talking about those tapes.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, seeing something like that was so out of the realm of normal life. Like you had to get a crazy tape, and it was basically like going and getting like a porno or something.
Right. Like
just
underground
some fucked up shit. And now seeing somebody just shot to death, especially like by cops, it's like every day. And now they put it on fucking TV. Yeah, they just are like, "Hey, here's another one. Here's the weekly compilation of cops blowing away black people." It's like and then like to make it even worse, these cops do all this shit. And then people are of course fucking pissed the fuck off, so they go protest. So what does fucking this dumbass fucking town in Wisconsin do? They allow fucking these fuck shit people to come in who had asked to be deputized. I read a story about this. These people asked to be actually officially deputized by the sheriff's department to protect the city from these protests. But they were not allowed to do that. But they were still allowed
to have guns.
And they were still allowed to come into the fucking town with these guns. So some fucking fucktwit of a fucking dumbass kid who's some Trump fucking Nazi youth came to this shit, shot up a bunch of fucking protesters, and instead of shooting this fucking waste of fucking piece of shit life, the cops just were like, hey man, here's a water, go home.
To me,
Sorry
that
about
just shows
that.
you what the heart of the real problem is, dude. Because like I don't even understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're so like, just think about this. They shot that man 7 times over the possibility of him having a weapon. You see somebody violently shoot people in the open, in front of you, and witnesses, and you don't apprehend that guy. You let him go home that night. You see what I'm saying? That guy could have fled to Mexico. You know what I'm saying? And over the night, we would have never seen him again. And that to me really, I question, is he even really locked up? Like I would love to see his actual mugshot. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they might not even, he might be gone, dog. That might have been a government operative for all we
Dude,
know.
he's just some
You know what
fucking
I'm saying?
little, like, if you look at that kid, you would never
That's
even
what you
know who
think.
that is if you saw him again.
Right.
You know,
You
it
think
might,
that's him. But you don't know that. That's what I'm saying. Like we don't know who shot them people, bro. Like in my opinion, like I feel like the fact that he didn't get arrested right away shows he got some type of connection in which he has protection, bro. It's the same thing I was saying with them pedophiles and shit, bro. It's like you're a judge and you gave somebody who sold a dime bag more time than somebody who raped 3 kids. What type of judge are you? You're a cop. You let somebody come into your area that you're supposed to be protecting with a loaded weapon and shoot 3 people. What type of cop are you? You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point, we got to really ask the real questions, bro. Because everybody keeps being like, "Oh, we got to change everything," but you can write as many laws into something as you want, dude. It's like with the mask. You can write as many city mandates as you want. All it takes is one motherfucker to say, "I ain't wearing that shit," and I don't care. And who gonna make them? You know what I'm saying? So it's literally a fight in the streets now. You're like that person's throwing blows. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with that. It's like, you know, if we decide as all cops, you can't shoot people no more. All it takes is that one cop to be like, oh, well, he needed to get shot. And then the way they have it set up, they all get protected and stuff. So even if you change the rules, you can't get rid of the individual that decides he's still going to bypass them all. Because to me, that just like all those people shooting that guy in the back right there with that many cops there. And same thing with George Floyd. Like, to me, it's like, obviously, some cops have more pull than others. I know there's ranks and shit, but like, even if you're the same rank, because you might have been on the job longer, the other cops listening, you know what I'm saying? They take notes from you and shit. So I feel like whatever cop is taking the lead on something, all the rest of them follow suit. But it needs to be maybe they have a different type of procedure where it's like, yo, if you see the guy that's taking the lead, taking the wrong lead, you as the cop watching this need to step up and do something too. Because you still have to protect first. You know what I'm saying?
Do you like that's the thing you never see, and I've never even heard of this happening. But because why would they publicize it?
Actually, I have heard that. I take it back.
Put his voice out there and stopped another cop from doing something that was out of the
right.
you know, whatever, out of the decency or whatever.
I've heard about a woman that did it. I saw a black woman cop did it to a white man cop that was about to kill somebody, and then they fired her. But I seen that recently, because of all that shit that went down, and all this, they were potentially thinking about giving her a job back. But if I was her, I'd be like, no, I'm suing y'all for wrongful termination, and I want to check. And I ain't never going, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck all that. I'm not going to never do this shit.
I mean, at this point, you're just going to
back?
get free money. They're just going to settle and give you a bunch of money, which, fuck them. They should pay you out. Pay them all. Pay everybody. Fuck them.
Why would you come back to a company that's not going to have your back? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're out in the streets protecting somebody, the next time some shit go down, they're going to fire you again for some bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, and you did the right thing. That's what I mean. So it's like, to me, I just feel like the entire shit is broken because it's supposed to be, dog. Like, that's what Shannon Sharp was saying today. It's just like, when you look at the Constitution, it was about rich white landowners, slave owners that it was supposed to benefit. And that's how it's always been from day one. Like, women didn't get the right to vote till the 1900s, bruh, because they weren't supposed to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with black people. It's like, black people don't have equality because we weren't ever supposed to get it. When the shit was written, we were slaves. That's why all that whole founding fathers bullshit and the sanctity of the Constitution, it's like, this is a document, bruh. That's like trying to, like, that's what the same thing with the Bible. It's like, bro, you trying to fucking live your life based off of some teachings from millions of years ago, basically, bruh. Like, so how does that apply to today? You know what I'm saying? Like, but then people do it though. They take shit from the past and apply. They're like, well, Jesus doesn't want you to say bad things on Facebook about people. Like, oh, really? Jesus knows what a computer is? For real? He knew what that was? He had Facebook? See what I'm saying? Like, when you say that, they're like, well, it ain't like that, but it say this and this. It's like, I understand what you're saying, but me typing this in text has nothing to do with taking the Lord's name in vain if I only wrote it, right? I didn't say it. So I mean, like, that's when you start getting all that shit, and then, you know, them big time Christians will argue with you. But it's the same thing with the Constitution. Like, the Constitution was designed for the benefit of the people that wrote it. So if I'm not one of those people and it doesn't benefit me, shouldn't we change it?
I mean, that's my thing, though. Like, the Constitution is supposed to be a living document. It's something that
Right.
should be able to be changed with the times, which is something that people as dumb as the people that created this country actually had the foresight that in the future something's gonna happen that we don't know about, you know?
Right.
So if that's the case, then either start changing the fucking thing and make it so that we're covering this. But here, and again, like, maybe, you know what, it's like you said, you could change it all you want, but the people in power are the people in power. Changing the document's not going to flip to like, hey, now everyone's black in power. It's not going to do that. The people who are rich are going to be rich. Like, I just read an article that Bezos motherfucker just eclipsed $200 billion. He's the first person to ever do that. And guess how he did it? Through the fucking pandemic. And that's how he made a shit ton of fucking money, like a bunch of other people. So those people aren't going to let go of their power unless somehow there's this document that comes out that says, hey, everyone that has money is actually in this cabal of evilness, and that forces us to tear them out of their cyber mansions and really,
you know what's crazy about Bezos' situation?
The
thing that's crazy about Bezos' situation is that he's actually letting that shit get publicized. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, if that was me and I was making bread like that, like, I'd be trying to be like a Bruce Wayne type of motherfucker where it's like, don't nobody need to know how much money I got. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, I'm worth 200 bill, but don't be telling nobody none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't want the government to know. I don't want nobody that know me to know, and I don't want nobody that don't know me to know, because then everywhere you go, they're gonna think you're the $200 billion man. So it's gonna be like, hey, break me off. You know what I'm saying? Or come up off your pockets, or I'm gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fight everybody in the world, and they can definitely take your money, bro. Like, if he was smart, I feel like what he should have did was when that shit happened, he made all that money, he should have been like, yeah, I made record fortunes. I'm going to donate all my profits back. He should have been, he could have given half of that billions back of profit, in the world.
Give it all. If you got $100 billion and you got another $100 billion, do you think you're ever going to, if that just went away, do you think that he's going to be, I wanted a fucking $150 billion house and now I can't have it? Well, fuck you.
Right. And you're the only one that can even buy it anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally buying something that only you can afford. So it's just, that's what I mean. Like, and plus he probably has all that shit. Like, how rich do you need to be? You got 8 Lamborghinis. You need a knife. You know what I'm saying? Like, at a certain point, you should be like, yo, and he might give some of his money back. I don't know. But I feel like, to me, if I made record profits right there and I was a guy like him in that situation, I would be like, yo, I know the world's hurting right now. I don't need this money, so I'm going to give it to things that'll benefit us all. But the reason why they don't do that is because why would he give his money away when he could take that money, see what we all need, and then get it and charge us for it, which is what Amazon is. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, everything that you need is on there. So he has it, and he offers to let you buy it from him for a price, and he makes money off that shit. So, I mean, to me, it's not like I always delve into capitalism all the time on here, man. But to me, like, that's the ugly side of capitalism no matter what. Like, you have a boss, you and your boss work the same hours, he makes $30,000 more than you. Does he really do $30,000 more worth of work than me? Or is it just because is where he is? You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, like, you're the ones pressing the buttons, you're the ones moving the furniture around or whatever. So is it more valuable for you to be directing the people on how to do something or to actually do it? You see what I'm saying? And most of the time, the people that actually do it know it better than the person that's directing them on how to do some shit. You know, you've had managers where it's like, this motherfucker is a useless piece of shit making all this money, and you basically just do his job all day and he sits back and chills. That's pretty much every job that I've had. You know what I'm saying? Where the manager, you look up, is busy as fuck, and the manager's over there posted up like he don't work there too. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, help me, dog.
I mean, honestly, I feel like that's every place I've ever worked out in LA, especially. It's like, hey, you're being held to this fucking insane high standard when your boss is some fucking twat that.
Right.
I shouldn't
can't even barely put 2 sentences together and shit. You
not
know what I mean?
indicative of where I work right now, but every job previous to where I work now, that's the case.
Yeah, man. I mean, That's how a lot of places are, bro. And a lot of places are run like that. You know what I'm saying? And then like think about this. That's how the cops work too, dog.
Yeah.
That's how the government work too, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like people act like because it's the government or a police agency and shit like that, there's no latency and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you worked at Taco Bell before, and then I was like, there's always that one motherfucker. He's always late. He doing half the work. He don't mop like he's supposed to. That's that same cop that shot somebody in the back sometimes, or that's that same guy that choked somebody out when they shouldn't have been and shit. You know what I mean? Like. That's why, to me, like I was saying, like, you can't change the whole system because it could even be just stupidity. It could be straight up that, like, they're dumbass cops. Because you can be stupid as fuck and be a cop. And you just don't know how to handle situations.
There's
or
D students in all schools, bro. Every place, any degree, there's a D student that just got through, you know?
A D student is the fucking president and was one before. George Bush admittedly said it, and Trump ain't never got no fucking A, not legitimately. Where you get an A? What class you got an A in? Please show me his report card. I would love to see Trump's report card. Matter of fact, I put the money on the line where my mouth is, Trump. If you got any grade better than me in any motherfucking class, I will eat my own dick on camera, bro. Like straight up. Like I'll chop it off and swallow that motherfucker. I know it ain't happening.
And honestly, the thing of it is, it's that, but we kind of talked about this on our last podcast, just about who actually wants to run for president. I feel like that's the caliber of the person you're getting that wants to run for an office at that level, that's willing to suck all that dick to get to that platform. That's who's doing it. Because the people that are as smart as you, or even smarter than you or me, are unwilling to do that because it's a thankless job. It's a job that you really can't, there's no success. You might have 50% of people that think you've been a success at it, but then there's 50% that are just off grip, going to be like, no, everything you did was garbage, erase it, because they're a different political party than you. So it just seems like, I don't know, man. It's just like one of those bullshit things where it just doesn't, there's no real answer, you know?
Well, that's why I'm so proud of what the NBA is doing, because I feel like they're putting the people's feet to the fire to be like, yeah, we know it ain't no answer, but at the same time, we're not going to stand for this. You know what I'm saying? Like that needs to be number one on top of anything, because like I feel like more than any people in America right now, they actually have the ability to do this because our politicians have totally left us in the dust. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of the NBA boycotting this shit because somebody got shot, it should have been that like every representative in the Senate and in the House should have came up with a video and been like, this is a tragedy for America right now. If one of us is treated like this, all of us should be worried. You know what I'm saying? Like that should have been since the very first killing with an unjust cop. You know what I'm saying? Like from day one. But what have they been doing? Constantly trying to shroud it, constantly trying to hide it, constantly trying to protect these people, which makes me feel like they have some meat in it, dude. Like that's why I was saying with that pedophile thing. It's like, why are the judges giving them less sentences unless they have some connection to it? Because what do you benefit from that? You could let a pedophile out early, he come rape your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Same thing with the cops. It's like you letting bad cops off the hook and you sitting there, like Tamir Rice killers, for example, right? Like they fired the one guy, the other guy still works, I think. Or maybe he quit, I don't know. But same thing, Mike Brown dude, still working. So it's like, how does he benefit your police department at this point? You know what I'm saying? Because somebody gonna recognize him and be like, oh, you the old boy that shot someone, so you still got a job? Like, damn, the police station ain't never changed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're adding the door for more and more controversy when it's like, on the flip side, you should be saying, hey, like, let's say you were a military, right? And it's like, hey, man, I got some soldiers that don't shoot their guns when they're supposed to, and I got some that are ultimate trigger happy. Like, I need to balance. You can't have both of those. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the people that do what they're supposed to when they're supposed to. That's what the cop's supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be that, oh, well, I'm the trigger happy cop, so anytime I deal with a situation, I'm busting heads, kicking down doors, and then you have the pleasant cop that's like, oh, well, could you please do this for me, sir? It should be a standard across everything. And even with that standard, like I said, shit still won't change because you're dealing with individuals. You know what I'm saying? That's like trying to tell me and you what to say on this fucking podcast. Like, we don't know what we're going to say next. You know what I mean? I think like people live like that. Like, they don't know what they're going to do next. They just do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how a cop should be operating, bro. A cop should know somebody did this, I do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get backup, I do this. You know what I'm saying? Because when it matters, they do that shit. Like I've seen when they could apprehend like a white person or whatever, if they need to when they was chasing OJ and shit. Ain't nobody blast OJ on the highway chase, you know what I'm saying? When they apprehended the motherfucker before he got to Mexico and shit, they let him go to where he was going, let him in his house, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they know they got eyes on him. That's what I'm saying. Like, they know how to act.
The cops that killed Breonna Taylor are working right now. Like, they're actually on the streets working. So those people went, did that shit, got away with it. Now they're back on the street, and there's no repercussion. So, I mean, for them, they just shot a bitch in her house. So, what situation aren't they going to shoot some motherfucker if they just feel like shooting them? Because, I mean, if you can just walk into somebody's house and go, bam, and they're just dead, and there's no explanation, then what? Like, how could they control themselves? And
how can you do anything with that as a department? My bad, I didn't mean cut you off, but
no, I was just going to say
like,
it kind of ties into the molesting thing you were saying too, where it's like if they're going to be soft on those people, it makes absolutely no sense, because I'd say probably the high percentage of those people that molest kids, it's a chemical thing, and even those people go to a doctor and they're like, I can't like stop this, it's inside me, I can't make this stop. There's people that are smart enough to recognize that they have something wrong with them and tell somebody and are able to like curb that demon. But the people that go to jail and get let out are vicious child molesters that got caught. So those people, if they don't get fucking caught, or if they don't get any real problems other than maybe having to tell people you're a child molester, you can disappear and then never have to do that again. And then 5 years later, you're like, you know what? Got that itch, and then you can't stop that. You can't make somebody's chemicals in their brain shift to where they don't want to do that unless you give them pills. And now it's all like woke and shit, and maybe they won't even do that. I don't know what the reality of that is, but it's just fucking like that. The cops, it's just fucking frustrating, dude.
But I mean, it's like I was saying, bro, like, to me, it weakens your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at your police force as a team, bro, and you have somebody on your team, like if it's a basketball team, and like, look at young Kobe. Every time he get the ball, he gonna shoot it. That's not how you play basketball, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a cop, every time you get in an altercation with a black person, you're looking for your gun. That's not how you really be a cop, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to play the game properly. So, like I said, if you have somebody on your basketball team and they always shooting the rock, not passing, not playing defense, none of that, you're going to kick them off the team. So, like I said, you got somebody that killed Breonna Taylor, and like you said, bro, like maybe they get nervous in situations, or maybe they're panicked or whatever. Like, to me, you're damaged goods. I understand they don't want to fire these people, and they can't really fire them because that's what Doc Rivers was talking about. They have police unions that protect these guys too. So like they get lawyers against the police department to where when they're about to lose their job, they get a lawyer through their union that actually defends them against getting their job taken from them.
Yeah, so and it's an unstoppable union that apparently can't be cracked. Like that's how all these cops get off.
Right. But to me, it also shows you, same thing with that child molester thing, the levels of deception, bro. It's already off top. Like, let's say you have a police force, right? And any time a person has been unjustly killed, if you've noticed, the cops have always tried to be somewhat covert in how they handle it. They don't just come out and, like, this one is a little bit different. They got caught on cell phone, but the Ahmaud Arbery one, they had that video for 2 months, bro. And those weren't even cops. They had a video 2 months before they actually released it to the public. So what were you doing for 2 months? DA and police force, you're investigating for 2 months people that had video of them shooting someone in cold blood? How was that an investigation? Why are these people walking around the street? What if they shot somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Because really, what if that was the whole jump off of a killing spree? You know what I'm saying? Like, you act like that doesn't happen. Like, somebody doesn't drive from state to state and shoot every person along the fucking way. It happens all the goddamn time, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, to me, it's just like you're making a weak team and then you're protecting the weakness of your team by not kicking these people off your team. Because, like, I can understand that somebody make a mistake about, hey, you got to lose your job, dog. But then they come in and say,
how many mistakes do you get as a police force? Because this police force not only shot a guy, but then let other people with guns walk into their town, shoot people, and then treat it as if they littered and were like, you know what, go home, collect yourself. I don't know, maybe that's not how it went down, but I know the kid got water and was allowed to go home. I don't know if there was a confusion as to who he. Yeah, I mean, he's 17, he's whatever, but this kid was at like Trump rallies. This kid's just some fucking how do you have this assault weapon? You know, why does some 17-year-old kid have an assault weapon like that?
You know why? It's America, bro.
And that disparity in treatment continued even after the shootings. Just watch how the next day, the Kenosha police chief couldn't help but spread blame to the protesters who were shot at and killed.
Everybody involved was out after the curfew. I'm not going to make a great deal of that, but the point is the curfew's in place to protect. Had persons not been out involved in violation of that, perhaps the situation that unfolded would not have happened.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
Okay, I mean, first of all, thanks so much for not making a great deal out of that. The people who got murdered were up way past their government-imposed bedtime, and you were nice enough not to even mention it, except to imply that maybe it was a reason they kinda had it coming. And that is the kind of restraint that we've all now come to expect from the Kenosha Police Department. And you might think, well, hold on, that's just one guy. Surely not all law enforcement there thinks that way. Although I will point out to you that the guy standing next to him is the Kenosha sheriff who, just 2 years ago, gave a pretty striking press conference. A group of 5 young black people had allegedly stolen some clothing from an outlet mall and had led police on a chase that ended in a minor car accident. And in that press conference, he expressed some views that are pretty explicit.
Let's put them in jail. Let's stop them from truly, at least some of these males going out and getting 10 other women pregnant and having small children. Let's put them away. At some point, we have to stop being politically correct.
Sorry, can I quickly interrupt you there? Because calling for American citizens to be stopped from having small children isn't politically incorrect so much as politically 1940s Germany. And he wasn't just idly saying that. He'd really thought through a whole plan. And I know it is deeply unpleasant, but honestly, it is worth listening to just how detailed his solution was.
If there's a threshold that they cross, these people have to be warehoused. No recreational time in the jails. We put them away. And maybe what we got to do is build warehouses that after this generation is gone, they've perished in these buildings, we can turn them into something else. Maybe it'll be malls. Maybe Amazon will buy them as warehouses later. But at some point, we have to get rid of this group of people. We have to lock them up. I don't think I'm saying anything different than most people in society aren't thinking, but they're afraid to say it. And I'm just to the point that I'm saying it.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
So
You sell guns like candy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean, bro. Like,
God, have some judgment. Like, if you want to teach your kid guns and gun safety and how to shoot a gun, my dad like, I didn't go hunting a lot, but my dad taught me that at like 12 because that was the law in Pennsylvania. But I didn't get a giant fucking M16, and he was just like treating me how to fucking like do urban combat and shit. Like, there's no reason to have
right.
that.
Well, that's the other thing though too. Just because he might have even known his gun safety, it's a difference when you got a gun and then when you got a gun and you're at a protest and people see you trying to supposedly guard a location and they're calling you a piece of shit to your face and a racist and all that, and they're being aggressive to you. Because I'm pretty sure that's what was happening. Like, he probably was posted up somewhere trying to guard whatever little shit he was saying he was guarding, and he's sitting there with a gun and he's a bitch. So somebody ran up on him that he was afraid of, and they was like, you a bitch and you have a gun and we'll beat your ass if you didn't have that gun. And he probably got scared and shot somebody. You act like that doesn't happen every fucking day. We've seen it in clubs when people get in a fist fight with somebody, but they really a punk, so they be trying to talk shit, but they can't, you know what I'm saying, and then get stole on, or do something drastic like a big-ass club punch, and then they get rocked. Like, that's what the fuck happened with that kid, I think, except he had a gun on him, and you can't play with that shit. Like, but to me, I'm so curious to see what they charge this dude with. They gave him first-degree murder. I'm curious to see what happens if he actually goes to jail, because, like, Zimmerman is walking free,
dude. That's all I'm saying. He's a kid, so no matter what, I feel like even if they try him as an adult, he's gonna get some bullshit ass sentence. And again, this is some just wasp white kid that he could be lobbed in with 18 other white kids and you wouldn't know who he was. So 10 months from now, if he's in jail and they're like, hey, COVID, it's too dangerous, he'll probably just go home and fucking be with his shit parents that bought him the gun, and they'll probably be doing target practice in 7 months because there's really no way for people. There's no justice for this kind of shit. It just is what it is.
Bro, I'm telling you. To
We
me,
can sit here and
that's
talk
the worst
about it,
part
but
of it
it's
all.
like, here's how you change it. You got revolution. That's how the shit changes. There's no vote somebody else in to get the changes that you want. There's no, but I don't see it going through politics as a viable option to make any social changes in America to the radically for what everyone wants. I don't think basketball players not
definitely
playing
not.
basketball, you know, I don't think anything entertain movie people, you know, movie stars not making movies and anybody who's in entertainment or some sort of a celebrity not doing what they do because they want to protest. I don't think that's going to change anything. I mean, I appreciate that they're trying to do whatever they can to change something, but clearly the money, the evil people, the people that are in power that are continuing this bullshit, it doesn't matter, you know, they understand how to manipulate the news cycle, society, the dumb people that are willing to elect people like Trump and go to his rallies and then take a gun into a public place and shoot somebody with it. They'll use them as pawns and they'll continue to work their little fucking tricks. And 10 months from now, we'll probably be talking about 6 other black people that got shot to death because they wanted to go get a drink of water someplace and some cop thought that, you know, they were the next fucking serial killer of the month or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
It's a really pessimistic thing to think. Like, I wish there was a way to adjust social change through in putting real people into the system. But one, somebody like you or me, let's say I wanted to be a senator now. I'm never going to be that senator. I'm not going to affect social change by becoming a politician.
Oh, no.
And the kids that are coming up below us are even more leery of politics too. They're even more against the system than we were because they see how stupid it is, how shitty it is. So I don't know, man.
Well,
like, I'm hopeful for me because I'm a survivor, dude. Like, whatever happens, I'd be cancer, I'd be being a fat fuck. I've gone from place to place. I'd be in LA at this point where this place has fucked me in my ass and beat me into the ground so many fucking times. But I'm still here. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm the same person. I'm not changed at all. I'm a little bit smarter than I was, which I think is the goal. But I'll survive whatever the fuck happens. I'm smart and I am aware of this shit. But it's like, as far as like how to change it, when I talk to other people and like people are like, well, if we get this person in office and this will happen and this, it's like, no, I don't. I mean, I wish. But I don't think that's going to happen.
The only way that, well, like what you're saying is a God honest truth, dude. Like, and I don't know if people even have the wherewithal to see that far ahead of how dumb and fucked we really are. Because like you said, let's say that everybody decides today, we're going to get every politician that's been in politics out. Already, that's just not going to work because we have 2-party system. So who's going to fill in the blank if we want to get in that? If we kick a Republican out, the Republican's going to want to fill in with another Republican. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, oh, this is the good Republican, though. So he's the guy that we can trust. If we get a Democrat out, the Democrat people are going to say, we should get another Democrat in there. He's the good Democrat, though. I don't think you can trust none of them motherfuckers, first off. But on top of that shit, let's say that we did do that. Who would be the next man up that's not Republican or Democrat? It ain't going to be you or me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be no fucking politician, dude. And, like, on top of everything else,
I'm not
I
smart.
don't think that the
like,
average
you
man...
You don't want
even
somebody like us to be a politician. You don't want somebody like us running this shit. It just is what it is.
I don't even think a politician is smart enough to run it. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think that if you put one politician on the stand and said, hey, here's that thing y'all are going to vote on next week. It's Prop 9186 on bridges and shit or whatever, right? Like, can you tell me about that and what your opinions on it is? That guy probably knows nothing about that shit because the way that they know stuff is their staff reads it for them, gives them a little brief update, tells them how their constituents feels about it, and then they make the decision based off of how many people are going to like them, how many people are not, and then based off of party connections as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very rare that I feel like a politician is really sitting down, doing the legwork of reading every part of a document, understanding all of the ordinances and shit, and then voting one way or another. There's committees amongst them that do that too, where it'll be like, you know, the House committee has like the specialty guys that kind of do the more in-depth work, but the average politician doesn't even know how to do his job either, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like that to me also shows you how fucked we are. Like, like I said, off rip, bro. You could just go down the list of like the future thought processes and shit. There's never going to be someone pure enough and great enough that we all can agree on and say this is the guy that's going to change it all.
And even if they were,
system,
like, you would never buy it. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody came out was like, I'm squeaky clean. Everyone would be like, let me look into this. This there ain't no fucking way, and this shit. And it's like, quite honestly, probably true. That person could for years be. It's just, we could bring up many people. Like everyone was like, Bill Clinton's this amazing guy. He's racial. He has all these like diverse like racial opinions and this and that. And then you come to find out the guy's just some sex fiend that his wife and him have been murdering people behind the scenes and like duping people for money and doing all this crazy shit. And I feel like that is the case for basically all of 90 to 100% of politicians. Even the ones you want to believe are squeaky clean, like Obama and them, they done some shit. Somebody
think about it. They have to. If you've been a lifetime politician, what's the one thing that you probably learn best as a politician, to me, is how to freak the political realm. You know what I'm saying? So like, number one, as a politician, I don't know a lot of people understand this or not. There are government lobbyists that work in Washington right next door to your office that come in there every fucking day and offer you money in different forms. Like, hey, you want to go to lunch? Let's go get the most expensive steak. You want to play golf? Let's go to the most expensive clubhouses. You know what I'm saying? Like, my aunt is a fucking government lobbyist. I think she worked for the pharmaceutical industry. They gave her over $300,000 a year just to give to politicians, bro. So already they getting paid. And if you've been a politician for more than 10 years, not only are you getting paid, you then know how to manipulate the system to get paid more. You know what I'm saying? Where you see something coming down the line and you're like, oh, if I put this guy up with this and hook him up, then I can get this job later and, they'll cut me the little backdoor deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's all they're really doing. Because I don't see them sitting back saying like, oh, man, public schools is fucked up, man. We got to figure this out. Or, man, teachers don't make enough money in this country. Like, we need to try to figure out a way to – because that's the government, bro. Or the public school system, the teachers underpaid because the government said we're not going to pay y'all. Don't you think teachers need to make money? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally our government saying the education of our children is not as important as building this missile over here or whatever the fuck they're doing with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you, bro. Like, to me, I think that what people need to do is wake up and realize the writing's on the wall. Like, you're saying, like, we can't never change it. We can't, because nobody wants to wake up and realize it's designed for us to lose. Like that thing with the news. Like you said, something pops up. They have mastered that, bro. You literally could say that Donald Trump slayed a dragon or like, fuck, Michelle Obama raped her or some shit. And in 3 weeks, ain't nobody gonna be talking about that shit.
You won't remember it. You just won't remember. There's so many things. That's what is almost like so disappointing about the internet, where I remember like when it first became this thing that you could easily get on, and it was what it is now, basically at its infancy. It was like this thing where the possibilities were endless, and we're going to have all this information. It's going to be great. But now we're years later and we have all this information pouring all over us all the time, where you can't know what's real. There's too much of it, even the real shit. And there's so much negative news. Like there's probably just as much positive news, but you'll never see it because there's things that keep you from seeing it. These algorithms that pump all this crazy shit into your feed and all this stuff. And it's like disappointing is not the best word, but it's just like horrifying to think about that past where it was like this hopeful like optimism. Now we're here and we're at this precipice of like, we've already gone through this horrible thing, a pandemic, having this cunt bag in office, making us all look bad as a country. I mean, beyond the shit he's doing that's just shitty, he's making the reputation of us as a whole just wipe it down. We can't go anywhere. Like, we're being barred from going into countries because we're Americans. I don't remember that ever.
They should.
I mean, I agree. They should, but it's like, that's been perpetrated through all this shit that's been going on. And we're at a place now where there are some things happening, like social activism. There's some things happening that are like trying to get change, but it's almost like it's impossible because the wall of barrier that they got to get through to make that happen, and it's just like too thick and they just get diverted and it disperses and the message gets lost. And then we get back into our routine and we get to watch the next Avengers movie and we get to watch the next cool HBO show and we forget about all that shit. And then something bad happens again. We're like, oh, wait, but there's really nobody like a voice that's going, guys, that you trust at least. That's like, guys, this, please, like, let's all join forces here and figure this out because this keeps happening. And no one wants to listen to that guy, you know? You're the tinfoil hat guy. You already said this shit. You know? Like, you get the conspiracy time shit all the time, and it just, if you get into a conversation with somebody, it's like, even me, if you get into a tough conversation, it's almost like the initial thing everyone wants to do is just be like, come on, let's just, I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to deal with, come on. What are you doing?
That's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say, bro. That's what kind of is the tragedy of the internet, bro. Because like what you were saying, when it first came out on like AOL and all that shit, what was really going on was that was an unregulated internet. Like right now, you know that in I think 2008 or 10, the internet got privatized. So like if you have like Verizon internet or whatever, Verizon has control over what's seen or not seen on your shit. Now they were trying to have I think the FCC or whatever was trying to get into debates, or the SEC, I forgot which one it was. It should be FCC, was having like a debate with the internet over if they could censor it or not. And they wound up losing that primarily because of a bunch of money getting influenced into the court systems to make people go into that direction or whatever. But what happened was that now if you go onto a site, like, you know how they have that cookies and shit every time you go in there now? What that's saying is that anytime you arrive on a proprietary site, they have the right for any information they get from you to sell that. But what you don't realize is when you accept those cookies, that gives information to literally every other website you ever visited, all your social media shit, all your fucking shit you posted on there, pictures. And what they do is they take that and they use it to put analysts on you. So like if you got, like, if they have access to all your pictures, right, they'll look and say, oh, he wears nice clothes and like he has like Nikes and shit. So like they send you more Nike ads, you know what I'm saying? And then, oh, like in the back of his house, he had a dog bowl. So then they'll send you some shit for like dog food and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they literally aren't just looking at what you're saying. They're looking at even things that they can learn from within, you know what I'm saying? Like behind the veil. And like I said, the thing that sucks about it is that when the internet first started, what should have happened was what was going on is that there were chat rooms and shit where like I would talk to somebody I've never talked to before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was like rudimentary at first, but what should have happened was me and you should have developed a level, being kids raised in that era, where like we could have a deep conversation via the internet. You know what I'm saying? So like via chat room, I could say, damn, man, what do you think about like how they're treating people in China? You're a Chinese man. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like we would have started developing these ideas one another to realize we're all getting duped. You know what I'm saying? But what happened is that they took that away. So now you can't even, like, Chinese people got a whole different internet than us. You know that, right? Like the internet is not our internet.
Shit you can't even access. Like I don't think you use Google in China.
Right. I don't think you can either. But that's what I'm saying. So like now the internet is segmented so that we don't even all talk to each other. There are still places where, you know, people will pop up like Young Pharaoh and Alex Jones and different people like that that are bringing the news to you. But because, like you said, it's so shrouded in so much other counter information, or because people think they're discreditable sources and stuff, that no one believes it. You know what I'm saying? But like they literally have even done that. They've taken the internet, because even on the internet, bro, like all the news we get now is fed to us. Like I learn my news from Google News. So when I wake up, I look at the phone and I see news reports that Google thinks I should think, but Google don't know what I want to know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Or they're not going to tell me where you're just reading what's on what they just, you know, right. And even that's controlled.
Even that, same thing, you know what I'm saying? So like at every level, it was always being filtered to us, you know what I'm saying? Like what you were told, what you were not told, what you're allowed to know, what you're not allowed to know. To me, I think you have to ask the question, well, why am I allowed to know that? You know what I'm saying? Like you have a black budget for the government, so you take my taxes and spend it on shit that I can't even see what you spent it on? What's up with that? That's my money. Don't that make sense? Don't that seem like a logical question to ask? Don't nobody even ask that shit. Not one person has stood up and said, hey man, what the fuck y'all doing with all this money y'all getting, man? Like, why we in a deficit?
Kind of I'm thinking of while we're talking about this, it's like a mini conspiracy within this, is that, I mean, again, we touched on a lot of stuff.
I'm going to say all of conspiracy to some people.
But I've said this before, that when I went to school, I think something that they didn't really teach us was to embrace like learning, like the
Oh no.
process of learning something new, whatever it is, like anything.
Right.
So that opinion or that reflex that most people seem to have, that's like, I just don't want to talk about this. I don't want to get into this. If it's too deep, if it's too, beyond what their normal life is, I think that's part of it. And it's like we almost got brainwashed into not wanting to put critical thinking to use because we weren't really taught critical thinking. At least I was not, dude. I straight up was not taught how to embrace and like the process of learning. And what sucks is I've kind of tricked my brain into doing that after I started working again, like with this sales job, where instead of being like, you didn't teach me how to do this, I don't know how to do this, I'm not going to do this, and waiting for somebody to like walk me through it, I would just go, here's what I have, this is what I've been taught, I'm going to try to do this. So even if I don't know that this is right, I can take this to my boss and be like, I've done this work.
Right.
I've tried to figure this out on my own. Here's what I've got. And that's a powerful tool, dude. Like, even if you don't come up with the right thing, if you just do that, you realize that that process can be applied to everything. So like me trying to figure out how to sell something can apply to us trying to figure out how to make a new business together or make more money or whatever,
I would tell you this, exactly what you're talking about. You're saying it's a conspiracy. I totally agree. Hit the button.
Ain't Life Funny presents Conspiracy Time.
Because what the true conspiracy is that they didn't teach you that because they don't want you to know that. Because like, think about this, right? What you're talking about is the way that life naturally progresses on Earth. So if you look at nature, right, and let's say you're a lion cub, right? So a lion cub, the way that they learn is through play at first. So lion cubs, they play with each other, they pounce on each other, they're learning how to hunt, you know what I'm saying? And at first it's hard, they're not good at it, they don't catch shit, you know what I'm saying? And then things get away, they don't eat. But eventually they get hungry enough, they get determined enough, they start figuring out their skills, they learn how to touch the ground just right so they're not making noise. Each one of them has to learn this. Like, we think this is instinct, but that's something that they're learning secondhand through watching others, you know what I'm saying? And like, same thing with trees. A tree in a forest looks peaceful. You see trees and you say to yourself, oh, such a beautiful vista. The trees are in a all-out world war against each other. They're fighting for sunlight above and they're fighting for soil and water below. So like, some plants even have poison on their roots to keep other plants from growing around them. You know what I'm saying? Some plants have leaves that cut into other plants, like choking vines. They reach up trees and strangle it so that they can live better. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're in an all-out battle.
I read this.
You know what I'm saying? And
like, go with what you just said. Just a real quick thing. I read this crazy thing that some trees, if you play the sound of a caterpillar chewing a leaf, their chemical something will change that makes the leaves taste like shit, so that their caterpillars won't do it. It will actually somehow disperse that to the trees near them, so they all know that that's not going to happen. So just a crazy, like, weird thing.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
But what I was saying though is what that's showing you is that all throughout nature, every force of life is in a struggle, dog. Like, every piece of plankton, every whale, every leaf, every blade of grass is fighting a thing next to it. And like, we as people, we have one thing that makes us special. And the reason why we were able to reach the top of the food chain is because we can communicate with each other. We can actually team up and say, hey, let's both go kill that deer. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just me trying to kill it. Because if it's me versus a deer, I don't got as good of a chance. But if I got you spotting the deer from far away and I'm down close, now my chances are double. You see what I'm saying? That's where humans, that's where our power is. But also with that, there's a learning process. So the first hunters didn't catch deer right away. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is what fucked us up. This is where the conspiracy comes in. The American dream teaches you that you reach a point in your life where you don't got to do shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people even say this in retirement. Like, they say, oh, I got retired and I'm going, a lot of people kill themselves and shit during the time, even because if you're not having the constant struggle, the constant challenge to grow, you'll never become anything better. And that's really what it's all about. Like, we as Americans think there's going to come a day and time where you can sit back and kick back in your chair and every day smoking cigars and getting drunk and sitting by the beach. And some people get that life, you know what I'm saying? But even in that life, you still got to bring struggle. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I said, if you sit back on that beach all day drinking beer, you're gonna be a fat fucking piece of shit. You're
ain't
gonna die
gonna
early. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, dude. I got to
American-
stay at home and not do shit because I had cancer and just relax. Just try to enjoy my life. And it just, even if I didn't have cancer, it was just, I mean, everyone's doing it now. You're stuck in the fucking house. It's like,
bro, I was on disability on my shoulder. You know, you see.
It's just not
It
fun.
sucks.
It's like you're never going to get to the point where, I mean, even if you, any goal that I've set is that I've gotten, like, achieved something close to what I wanted, it basically, you get like 2 minutes of being like, hell yeah. And then it's just basically on to the next shit. We used to do that all the time.
Because you can't
we used
never
to
stop
write something with Sean, make a skit, and it was like our life for a week or however long it took us to make that shit. And it was just like, you're stuck in that and you're like, damn, this shit's so dope. As soon as we make this, this is going to happen, this, and this. And, man, this shit's dope as fuck. And I'm going to be happy as soon as we make this. And as soon as it came out, it was like, all right, cool, what's next? And I think that's life. Right. Like, you know, like everything I've gotten, as soon as I was like, if I survive cancer, I'm going to be happy 24/7, just chilling. Fucking, I'm not going to give a fuck about shit and just be happy just because I'm alive. And dude, just ain't the case, man. It's not good enough.
There is no finish line. There is no finish line. Even what we're talking about with this police brutality shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no finish line. In our politics, there is no finish line. Like, that's why they're getting away with all this shit, because I feel like we as Americans have this illusion in our mind that we can be complacent in what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm back. We started recording again. Sorry about that.
Cool. But no, like I was saying, it's the same truth though. Like, there is no finish line to anything. Like with the police brutality, there ain't no finish line in that shit, bro. Because like I said, it's gonna always be that one cop. You can't eradicate racism. There's never gonna be a point where black lives gonna always matter, because it's gonna always be somebody that say, "Well, damn that, I ain't listening to no goddamn nigger," and that's what's gonna fucking happen. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's always just like sit there and be like, "Look, you can't say this shit out in front of people, but."
Right.
Just so you know, them goddamn people are just evil as shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you're right. It's one of those things where if you tell people there is no finish line, like, again, like with weight loss, like I lost 200 pounds, and it's like as soon as I lost 200 pounds, it was like, well, I got to lose a few more pounds because now I want this, you know, the goal shifts or whatever. And it's like if there is no finish line, you just tell like somebody, well, hey, maybe in 10 years, we're going to have like a better way of looking at this, so that maybe society will sort of become this vague possibility that could happen. That's not, nobody's going to want to do. They're like, wait, what? Like, what's the solution? They're like, time, consistency.
That's the only thing.
Adjusting our opinions based off of the reality of what's going on. Not, hey, this is the law and this is the fucking, so this ain't against the law for us to shoot these people. That guy was reaching into his pocket, so I had to shoot him. Or that guy, I thought he was going for a gun. He turned his back on me. I thought he was going for a gun, and then 8 people shoot a guy. It's like, guys, just because it was a law doesn't mean it needs to be a law. It used to be a law that you could fuck a 10-year-old, but now they changed that, so you can't do that.
It used to be a law that if you killed somebody in Virginia, you could go to Tennessee and get away with the shit.
It used to be a law that a black man couldn't marry a white, or a white dude could marry a black chick, or vice versa. He used to get killed for that shit or put in jail. And they took, I mean, fucking crazily enough, it doesn't seem like it's been enough time, but it's like 80 years ago, that wasn't a law anymore. But it's like, wait, what the 80 years ago? There's a person alive that was alive then, you know?
Right. Dude, I mean, that's what people, that's why
not enough time.
I think that's what people really don't comprehend, dude. Because, like, even with the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're saying they want to boycott and shit, but it's like, so you're going to boycott next season, too, if this shit keeps going on? Or what happens during the middle of NFL season when they shoot another black man? Because it's obviously every 3-month cycle where apparently it's just some ritual or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean that's what my conspiracy does.
Like, bottom line, a player is a freelance employee, bro.
Right.
If you say some shit or do so, Colin Kaepernick's a perfect example. He wasn't the greatest football player of all time. He didn't even do anything. Now it doesn't even seem like a radical thing at all. It seems I mean, he started a precedent, but just that one thing, you can be fucking thrown to the wolves. And I mean, if it gets to the point where all these players are like, hey, we're not going to play, at some point, I'm sure the fucking owners of the company are going to be like, look, okay.
We'll get somebody else. Because,
there's
dude,
a
that's
bunch
what
of
they
people
do.
that didn't get drafted that will be loved to
Right.
be paid 10 G's
Right.
to play a season to get brutalized while you motherfuckers don't
It's
get
funny,
so.
It's funny you brought that up, too, because I always thought it would be interesting. Like, why doesn't the NFL have a farm league? Like, if baseball has a farm league, like, why wouldn't you have a minor league football team in every city so that you could harness, like, I guess it's kind of what the arena football is kind of supposed to be.
I mean, that's what all those, like the XFL, like those are like, they're trying to make.
Like, the NFL doesn't own that, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, the NFL should own its own farm league, like baseball does. So that way
Does baseball own that? Is that like an MLB property then?
Yeah, bro. Because, like, it'll be a Braves farm league team. You know what I'm saying? Or, like it's farm league. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why wouldn't you do that with football? Because, like, to me, it just seems ingenious to where, like, then you could have, like, secondary owners of those teams, like, you know, somebody that's rich but not rich enough.
Though, with the practice squad, like that's kind of what the practice squad team is that it's they don't play
good. Right, that's what I'm saying. You can make money with it. You see what I'm saying? Or like they could pay those guys
more. They should
more
think about doing that, especially like do that and then get like undrafted rookies to get in, and maybe you have a few like the allure of that league could be like, hey, maybe some guy could walk in off the street and make a team like that. Maybe it wouldn't happen.
I just don't know. Yeah, I just feel like that would be a good thing. But the reason why I was saying that because it's and like what you were saying with the players and stuff, until we all realize that we're all capable of being our own free agent and being sovereign and shit like that, then nothing's going to change either. Because you got to realize, like what you're saying with the players, they can get kicked out or whatever, but also from the players' perspective, they could leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, truthfully, that's the one thing that they have is like they have leverage because it's like, yeah, you could get some other guys in here, but that ain't going to be the best product, and you guys can't get down here and play what we do. Like maybe some of you guys that made some oil money and bought an NFL team think that you're the smart one and know what's going on socially, but a billionaire that owns a football team probably doesn't have his finger on the pulse like even somebody that's a millionaire like a football player. Like at least they have roots that are probably more in the hood, if you will.
Well, what I was saying though is that even us as people, though, like me and you, we're sovereign too, bro. Like we could decide, like if everybody got linked up, this will never happen. But if everybody could link up and say, yo, ain't nobody doing that lick of work nowhere on this earth until y'all get this shit figured out. Everybody got to be equal. We ain't paying Chinese people $1 no more. If everybody could stop in their dead tracks and do that shit, because they can't make you work. You know what I'm saying? I guess maybe in China they could bust your head and make you go to work, but in America they ain't just gonna come kick your door and be like, hey, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? If everybody at your job don't come that day, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's just going to make a statement, but I don't think it's impossible to make it happen. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, in terms of just, like, the future and all this shit, bro, like you were saying, man, we said it before, time is the only thing that can really get into this shit. And also people need to realize that you are being manipulated, bro.
But I mean, the problem with the time thing is that that's not the only thing that it takes. It's time plus people being consistently aware and staying on top of not losing sight of what the actual issue is. Like if it's black people being shot or black people not having as much of a voice as white people or whatever the disparity is, there's got to be somebody that's like whatever the thing is to be knowing of what the current situation is, have their finger on the pulse of that. And not only do over time do you have a consistency in the person who's watching it and the opinion that's generated from that, you can add to that and people can jump in on that are other voices and add to the discussion. But no matter what, if you have, it doesn't do anything to be like, time's going to heal this, because time isn't going to heal this if people don't consistently drill into the thing and keep like moving the bar when you get to the next thing. You know, like we said, when you learn something and you get to the end, you got to keep moving the bar forward. So you're like, you can't be complacent in that. It's cool that the guys want to not play basketball, but they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna need to pay for that Bugatti at some point, and somebody's gonna be like, you know what, guys, I think they said they're going to keep the playoffs going. I think I just saw that come on the internet. Maybe not.
It's like, well, I think they're going to because, like I said, it's not going to stop anything if you don't. Like, it's going to hurt people. Like, they'll feel it for this year, but then next year, it's going to be 3 more people shot between now and the next NBA season start,
I mean, there's
bro.
probably somebody getting shot right now, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
It's ridiculous.
So, like, you're not going to – just you doing it ain't going to be enough. But it's funny you were talking about that because exactly what you were saying about constantly reiterating, like, the points over and over again, that is the key. The best example I know of that, and it almost brought me to tears today when I was thinking about him, is motherfucking Muhammad Ali, bro. Like, if you really think about what he went through, dude, like, he stood up against the Vietnam War, which at the time, there were, like, hippies doing that shit, and, like, they were literally drafting people that did not want to go to war and making them go fight in the jungle.
And dying. It was like, literally, they were like, hey, here's your ticket to the meat grinder. Like, dude, can you imagine that if you just –
It's crazy.
It was like a waiting game. Like, my dad had to go through that.
Yeah.
And what my dad did was join the Navy. So he was like, I ain't going into the fucking jungle. I'm going to join the Navy, join the military proactively, and not fucking die needless. Because, dude, what was really crazy about that war, we don't have to get stuck on Vietnam, but how so many people were just so aware of how bad it was.
Right.
But it just kept going and going and going and going.
What I was about to say about Muhammad Ali, he got taken out of boxing and didn't get back for years,
dude.
For years, bro.
Prime of his career.
Exactly. That's like if they were to take John Jones and just be like, "Hey, man, you can't fight for the next 10 years," and then he came back.
He did that to himself, unfortunately. But
true that. But I mean, but just think about that though, bro. Like, they took the best boxer in the world, crippled him in his career, and the way he got it back was doing what you said. He kept constantly going on TV shows and putting himself out in the public, and even getting death threats and almost risking his life, all the time. And everybody hated him for a point where it was like, oh, you don't love the country and shit. Some people, other people treat him like a hero.
Also, think about this. Not only was he doing that, he was a black man doing that.
That's what I was about to say. And from fucking Louisiana, bro. Not Louisiana, Louisville. From Kentucky and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you a black man from motherfucking Kentucky, dog, from the straight up slums, and you raised yourself up to the heights of where you could sit with presidents and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me,
everyone, dude.
Right. Like, he's loved by everybody. You can't even bring his name up. Even people that hate him in the past love him now. You know what I'm saying? And that to me shows you, like, yeah, we say we can't make a change and shit, but we don't, like, I think that the change is gonna be something you ain't gonna never know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be some shit that's like just comes out of nowhere, bro. Like, I can't even explain it, like, how it might even manifest, but I feel like it's a possibility because, like, you would have never seen Muhammad Ali come. You know what I'm saying? Like, him being who he was and doing all that, like, it took him an exemplary man to do that. Who's to say there's not one among us that could do it again? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I have hope in that. I don't think I'm that man, but at the same time, I don't want to put caps on myself, so I could be. Who knows? I might die. I might be the next one to get shot by the police, bro. But maybe my death means
God
something.
forbid, dude. Like, but dude, you know what's crazy? I used to to be completely honest, when some people used to say that to me, like, as somebody from Ohio, I was an ignorant kid. It was like, is it really, like, I can't imagine you're just scared all the time of police. Like, really? But dude, like, it is legit. That is what it is. Like, I'm never gonna be able to know how it is to be like that, but to, like, it's real. Like, that's straight up the reality of going out. Like, I think, dude, I don't want to put I don't know if it was somebody in your family or somebody that was just, like, in my Facebook post, but somebody was literally like, hey man, like, somebody's dad literally texted them saying, just don't speed, don't do anything. I don't want you to get shot by the cops. And that's literally basically has been the reality for so long, but just it's so out in the open now that to be ignorant of that at this point, it seems like impossible. But it's so many people just are able to brush that off and be like, they're like, don't be fucking cocky to the cops. Don't have a reason to be afraid of the cops. It's like, we're afraid of, like, this is why we're afraid of the fucking cops, you fucking idiots.
Because you don't know what's going to set them off. You know what I'm saying? What's going to be the one thing to make them want to pull that trigger, bro? I mean, dude, you know that story, we never shared on the podcast, but you remember that day I used to get sick in Florida and I would throw up and shit, and I left your house one day and the cops, for whatever reason, had the whole neighborhood shut down. Like they were like blocking roads and shit. So I drove by one cop in your neighborhood. It was an apartment complex. And I go up to the light. He's following me. There's another cop out in the intersection directing traffic at this light. So I go up to our next apartment and I'm like, I live right next door to you. And I get out and he pulls up behind me, asks me for my ID as I'm getting out my car because he never turned his lights on, nothing. He just was watching me where I was going. He gets up behind me, blocking the road and shit. And he blocks my car and he's like, hey, man, you got an ID? Never said anything about I was under arrest or nothing. I'm like, yeah, I got one. And I turn around and go reach for it. And he reached for his gun. It's like, and I literally looked at him and said, hey, man, don't shoot me. You asked for my ID, right? I said it just like that. And when I said it like that, he looked at me because like I put my hand, like I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I saw his eyes like change over and be like, go out of cop mode and turn into another dude. Cause it's like a Mexican kid. He's like a young Mexican dude. And he looked and was like, oh shit. Like he literally did that. He was like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, my bad, man. I'm sorry. And apologized to me for reaching for his gun. Now, what if he had pulled it and shot my ass? You can't say sorry then. You know what I'm saying?
And that's like a reflex. I mean, and also, if there's somebody that's that much of a bit, like, you should be able to weed that out somehow. There's got to be more of some sort of a thing process to be able to. I mean, the military, that's what they do. They create killers, and unfortunately, they put those people in, like, as police when they come back. And I feel like that aggro, like, get it out and just have it out so you have that upper hand no matter what the situation is. Yeah. That's like the reflex that's kind of taught to cops, and there's no repercussion for it. Like if it goes off, it goes off.
Well, this is not in defense of the police in any way, but I think part of the mindset that builds up in them is that they constantly deal with people during the shittiest times. So like, people cuss them out and,
lie to them, all that shit.
Do all that fucked up shit to them. And I think you get kind of jaded to the world. And like, if somebody mouths off to you and just you're having a bad day, because I mean, you know how it is, bro. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you're having a bad day and somebody's mouthing off to you. And like, in the back of your mind, like you can use excessive force and you might not need it, but it's just like, because you're pissed off, you go ahead and use it. And you're like, well, the department got my back. My union got my back, so it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's more of the mentality that builds up in a lot of these bad cops, you know what I'm saying? But to me, and people are going to get mad at this, I group them all as bad, though, because once again, that's all your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a Laker and LeBron James is beating the shit out of somebody and I don't go over there and stop him, it's like, yo, I'm wrong too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, dog, I'm the only person big enough to stop him. So I need to be like, yo, LeBron, get off that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't do that, obviously, but I'm just saying.
There's a law. If you sit there and some guy just hacks some dude up that you're with and you don't do anything and you just let it go and kind of just go about your business, you're an accessory to a murder. So you need to go.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm with you, man. Like, I hate even feeling like we can even talk about this like it's going to come to anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's what gets really frustrating is it is a time thing. And what's even more frustrating, I'm just going to like tackle this real quick before we end the episode. But like the other thing that doesn't help is when the politicians are taking this stance of using the media and using everything to instill more fear into the public. And the reason I say that is that first of all, I have not been watching them. Like, I haven't been sitting there poring over them. But the Republican National Convention, if you watch any clips of it, it's like literally people on a pedestal going, they're going to rip you out of your houses. They're going to kill you. You do want to have your guns taken away. And it's like they keep fucking stirring the pot and keep adding fuel to the fire and keep getting this fucking the pot to boil over with all this like anxiety and all this fear so that their base can continue to like grab onto that and be like, we need you guys and we have to trust them because they understand how bad it is out here. It ain't bad, man. Like, it's bad, but it's not like you don't have to be worried about going out and getting like capped by some crackhead, right? It's not like World War Z or some shit.
Right.
So you can't be doing that. It just adds to what's going on and makes the situation that much worse. We can't focus on the problems when you're so afraid of just living and being a person in the world that just being alive is too much. I feel like that's the general consensus with everybody. It's like, I just need to worry about me. Like, it's just about me. I want to live. I want to live as best a life as I can during this, and I don't want that to. I can't think about all this shit.
Check this out, though, right? One of the privileges of being a white person, and this isn't really for men as much, because some white men can pull this off, some can't. But being overwhelmed is a white privilege, bro. As a black person, you can't say that. You can't say you're overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're whelmed, motherfucker. Because, like, the prime example is how they give, like, that white kid, that affluenza kid, Brock or whatever, that little easy shit for raping them bitches. Sorry, for raping that lady. I didn't mean to say bitches right there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I went total hood on that. For raping that girl, because she was not a bitch. He was a bitch.
Yeah.
But for raping that girl, and then, you know, like, and then they'll give, like, a 17-year-old gangbanger, 20 years and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they know it's like, you know the laws, motherfucker. You supposed to know. If you raised in the hood, we treat you like this. You know what I'm saying? This is how it is for you. Whereas with a white boy, it's like, oh, well, your life still has value. We maybe could help him. He didn't mean to. It's like, he didn't mean to rape an unconscious person? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get forgiveness for that in my book. But, like, here's my thing, though, dude. And this is where we can end. And maybe I might turn the page too hard, but when you want to talk about another conspiracy, you're talking about how all those people are getting riled up with the fear at the Republican National Convention and shit. I think they've been brewing this pot for so many years, bro. Since Obama got in office, because you got to look, right? Since he got in office, the phenomenon of not black people getting shot by the police, but the phenomenon of black people getting shot by the police and getting put on the news has become a thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you want to look into the whole dirty intelligence, counterintelligence thing, they're doing that. They're showing you that on purpose to make you mad. And then on the flip side of that, they also know that there is a white reaction or whatever you want to call it, where white people, if they see a black person get killed, they instantly want to try to justify the side of the cops, because in their mind, the cops are the good guys. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they can't do anything wrong. That's part of the lie that's being told here. So because you have the side here that wants to protect the police, and the side over here that is seeing the death and the violence of the black people, and they're getting mad, I think they are trying to incite a race war. I think they've been trying to do it since day one, because since Trump got in office, the Charleston shit popped off. You had the Women's March. You've had all these cop killings. When Obama was off, the same thing. Like, I think they just keep stirring the pot to be like, one day, because like what they're really, I think what secretly is going on is they're telling these white people that are afraid of this to be like, one day they gonna get a black man so much love and so much privilege that he gonna be better than you. And that whole DNA thing too, where, because of the white man's laws, if you have any ounce of black blood in you, you're black. So you're instantly diminishing your numbers as a race. I think that also goes into it too, where they say they gonna come and fuck your daughters and you can have black babies and your whole family gonna be black. And then they gonna take all our banks and shit and they gonna take your house. Like, they really are preaching that to them people, bro. Like, there's this whole mythos of that shit, that the black man is gonna rise up and basically treat y'all like y'all treat us. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't think that's even in any black person's mindset. I don't even think the most radical of black person would tell you that.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I always thought was funny. That was like the reality that like racists would paint. Like, well, if they get power over us, they're gonna subjugate us. It's like, I don't really think they're just gonna, even if some weird thing happened where black people took over the United States, I don't think it would be this like insane fucking.
Like, I'm just gonna have a white slave now. You know what I'm saying? Just be beating his ass.
Just recreate the shit. This doesn't make sense, guys.
It's like we know it's wrong. Why would we do what's wrong to somebody else? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. Like, I think that, like I said, but if you want to go into the conspiracy element of that, I think that that's really what's going on. So I think they are trying to incite some type of race battle, bro. I know it sounds correct. Why? What to what end? I don't know, other than the fact they just want us to all kill each other. And I mean, if you think that they're all eugenicists and they want to get the world population below a certain amount, like they claim on the Georgia Stones and all that shit, then maybe it does make sense. But people don't want to believe in that shit. So I just stand back and put my hands up. But it's written there in fucking plain as day. You know what I'm saying? Somebody made that shit. You know what I mean? So you heard about that, right? The Georgia Stone shit?
I mean, no, I haven't.
There's a monument. No, there's a monument in Georgia. Look it up. It's called the Georgia Stones. And on it, it's written, don't nobody know who made it, I don't think, but it's probably some Masonic shit. But it's like these weird looking pillars. And on one of them, it says like, the ultimate goal of us is to get the world population below, I think 5 million or something like that. So that's basically like over 80% of the world population they want to eradicate. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
So like,
I'll believe anything at this point, dude. The shit's gotten so weird and then so fucked up that if somebody told me, hey man, this actually is like a simulation, I'd probably be like, you know what? Makes sense. It actually makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense than what's going on. So what I
hell
actually, to put a funny spin on, just to end this, what I think is really funny is that, you know, I didn't watch the Democratic National Convention either, so I don't really know who they brought out. But the Republican Party, the people that they paraded out to speak, it's like a fucking gong show of these fucking, they're not even celebrities. These are just losers, fucking chuds that they were like, hey, who do we got? The people with the guns on the lawn, get them in. Fuck it. Hey, maybe, is that guy who freaked out in the bagel shop, that little midget guy over, is he available? Oh, okay, he won't do it. Fuck it. Get the people with the guns. We got them. It's cool.
Like legit, like that is what they did. They just got like a roundup of just like any vague Republican celebrity
Like,
type of a guy. Would you like to speak? You're like, hell yeah, I got something to say. It's like, oh, not him. Don't let him talk, man. Like they had some black dude up there say the N-word, bro. Did you see that in the clip?
Hell no, dude. I can't watch any of that shit.
Oh, dude. The only thing I saw, it was a really small clip, I think, but it was saying something where like the black guy was saying that Trump didn't say what's that thing they always try to get him with? Oh, at the Charleston thing, they say he didn't say it was good people on both sides or whatever. And then he goes off and says like, but it was some motherfucking niggas. He said something. He just went in. I'm like, yo. I'm like, yo, dog, like, you know, you need to read the room,
they
man.
just were like some fucking seedy, fucking slimy, fucking politician person was like, look, Donald, he loves black people. So what we need you to do is, if we got $500K in this envelope, just go up there and just say the N-word. Just say it. Here it is. Just say it. And they just found some guy that needed $500K. And they were like,
he said something crazy, dog. I don't remember what it was exactly, but he said something crazy, dog. I gotta look it up. I feel like he said N-word. I can't remember now. But it was
like, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump got up there and was like saying that shit at this point.
Yeah, I feel.
Remember when he said like he at one point in his last like run or whatever, he was like, what do you got to lose, black people? He just like said some shit like that where it's like, okay, well.
But no, I've actually seen it's mad Republicans taking that stance. It's some black girl that I seen that's running for Republican office in Baltimore. That's what she did. She walked through all hoods in Baltimore and was like, when has voting for the Republicans ever worked out for y'all? Look at the streets. It's still fucked up in here. It's like, give me a chance. And I'm just like, this is the pitch to just be like, y'all ain't got nothing better to pick, so pick me. What a terrible slogan.
Hey, I haven't fucked up yet.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, that's a terrible way to sell something. Like, oh, you like Volkswagens? Well, check this out. I know you ain't never drove no Porsche before, but check this out. Volkswagens be breaking down and shit, man. They be needing gas. Did you know they need gas? Yeah, they need gas, motherfucker. It's like Porsche don't need no gas. You know what I'm saying? Like just shitting on somebody else to sell yourself is a terrible plan. So, you know, whatever, man. But it's just, you know, it's funny, man. But that's what life is, I guess. You know, y'all ain't life funny. So
shit.
You see how bro, I'm like the motherfucking like Montel Jones of fucking what's Jerry Springer of wrap ups, bro. I just get in front of the camera and be like, well, everyone, we learned today that you should not have sex with your brother's girlfriend. It's not ever a good choice, but family is important, and we want you all to stick together. It's another episode of Jerry Springer.
I forgot Jerry used to do that. He's like, hi, everybody. This is Jerry Springer. We've talked a lot today about DNA tests and babies. And I think the one thing that we all need to think about is contraception. So, I like to feel like that.
It's just funny because he would say shit.
Jerry Springer needs to run for office, bro. Get him out there and have him like start fights with the Republicans and Democrats. Get him out there.
Honestly,
get Steve Wilkos as vice president.
If he hosted like a debate, it would be awesome. Like if you just had like Biden and Trump be like, "I'll beat your ass, motherfucker!" Like, Joe, you old as shit, and then Joe Sturridge be like, "Hey, Joe, it sounded like he said you was old as shit. Did you hear that?" That's all Jerry used to do. He get on the mic and be like, so Susan said that you're a bitch. Did you hear her say that?
Look, so Rhonda, you're saying that Becky has, quote, stank pussy. Becky, what do you say about that? Rhonda, a bitch.
Right, 'cause
Rhonda,
it
a
would be
punk
funny.
bitch.
I just loved him because he would do that. Because it would be like the fight would be broken up, kind of, and he just, someone said your mama pussy stink. Like what? Just get to fighting again.
Just
It just so
get
funny.
Steve, get him like Steve Wilkos to get enough distance where there's a chair he can grab somewhere and like toss it at somebody.
I mean, we laughing about that, but in like 3 more years when Kim Kardashian is running for fucking Senate and shit, like that is what's gonna happen. So you'll see.
I'll vote.
I'd vote for Kim. I was about to say I'd rather vote for Kim. At least I could have something to look at. She could be fucking the world up. I'd be like, hey man, it's look better than looking at Trump on bald head ass shit. You know what I'm saying?
mean, she said something about nuclear war, but damn.
I mean, honestly, she done got more people out of jail than a lot of them politicians. So hey, she ain't a bad candidate on some real.
Yeah,
compared to some of them.
She might throw you some pussy if you're the right person too. I mean, you never know. I'm not. Maybe not
she
me.
Thinks Black Lives Matter. She thinks Black Lives Matter. We know that.
As long as you're in a certain tax bracket.
Yeah, true that though. Rich Black Lives Matter. You ain't lying.
Well, I don't know how we got onto that real quick, but hey, that's a good ending. That's a good way to end, bro.
Yeah, we had to bring some lightness to it, man. I don't want to be sad all day, bro. I've been pissed off all day about this shit, so I'm glad we could talk about it and kind of this is our therapy, you know what I'm saying? So we don't go crazy in the world, but
you got to talk about it. I mean, that's probably another thing. People, it's like why all this shit's bubbling up. They just don't have anybody to do it with. So I guess, don't do it because fuck you if you're going to compete with us. But, maybe start a podcast, talk with your buddies.
You can just come be a guest on ours. We'll talk to you. But
okay, yeah. There you go.
Dude, like 10 minutes.
Rando guest appearance. Here we go. Hit us up. AintLifeFunnyPod@gmail.com. Hit us up if you want to be on.
Yeah, we'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you about whatever you want. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, now if you think that Trump is a superhero, he's gonna help you and save you and shit. I mean, we can talk.
We definitely want to talk to you then.
Yeah, we can talk about
hit us up.
Yeah, but all right, so that's it again. Episode 20. We're opening the door for any featured guests that want to join the show. Thank you very much, and see you next Thursday.
Oh no! Peace.
Peace.